So there's on the shim should be le'ulun shmato, shenishmato tiyeh tzura v'tzora chaim. Again, like I said, the one thing I want to speak about tonight is it's a little bit of an odd topic, and hopefully we'll get through it. Is I guess if we're giving it a title, we would call it brit milah, drinking wine, and the megillah. So what does one have to do with the other one? But and as we're going, I think this is an appropriate topic for him, because as I was reading also in the post, I saw that he learned everything. It didn't matter if it was a pshat, it was a remes, it was a drash, it was a sod. I saw from the Zohar, Matok Midvash, to a piece of Gemara, to a piece of Shulchan Aruch. He always had something involved in it. It was so tonight we're going to go a little bit on the deep end. We're going to go in his memory, and again, like I said, when you saw him, you knew he had sod on his tongue. It was there. It was something that was, if he needed to call upon it, it would be called upon. So, Be'ez Hashem, in his schut, we will be able to absorb what we're going to say tonight. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm saying it over. I don't even know if I'm saying it over the way it's supposed to be said over. So hopefully, Be'ez Hashem, in his memory, he will be the guiding force that we need to comprehend these ideas and to bring them into Purim. So before we start on Purim, we have to go a little background. We have to talk about Brit Milah, and probably we're going to talk about it in a way that maybe you didn't think about before. And we'll start. What I'm going to tell you is tonight is the background is actually brought down in Tzemach Tzedek. It's brought down in Derech Mitzvotecha. And whenever he brings anything in there, you know, it's already talking about the pnimiut of the pnimiut of the story. So, when Hashem created the world, right? First of all, we know that the purpose Hashem creates the world is to be a meitiv, to do good, to have the creatures have an ability to access the good. Again, it's not enough that you have good in the world. If there's no one there that can access it and receive it, well, then you didn't do anything. Right? Again, this is the crux of the relationship, like we always say, right? We always mention that the Yud Kei Vav Kei, right, is what? Is a Shem Tzedakah, right? It's because it's the name of transferring. It's the relationship. So you're transferring from Hashem to the creatures. Okay. So now, what is the method that Hashem uses to transfer and to create this good to the creatures? So we know that Hashem has to we'll call it his light, because we don't have another better word for it. But light is something that is what the Svarim HaKadoshim bring down to describe HaKadosh Baruch Hu's connection to us. Right? Light is something that if you look at it, it blinds you. If you come next to it, it's warm. If you utilize it properly, it becomes very important. You need light to see, right? Light becomes a name that we associate, a word that we associate with clarity. So whenever you have something of clarity, you say that you have light, you have an ability to see. So Hashem's light, we'll call it, is so strong that anything that is next to it is what's called it's mivatel. It's nullified next to it. It's again the famous mashal that the Svarim HaKadoshim bring down. The famous idea is that imagine you took a candle and you put it next to the sun. Your candle you put next to the sun is not going to be even noticed. It's not noticeable. And next to the great light and vast of light from the sun. In a similar vein, anything that is next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a revealed state, it doesn't exist. Now, Hashem,
what do you mean by no revealed state?
So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, right? If he was to create the world so that you could see his actions, you could see him in a way that you can see anything physical, let's say. Just like fire is hot and it will burn you, right? So you don't touch fire, right? So it becomes something that's obvious, it's revealed to you, it's known. Similar vein, if Hashem would reveal himself to us in such a manner that it becomes obvious to us, like we wouldn't think of doing anything other than that, right? Then there would be no free choice. Free choice wouldn't exist. So in order for free choice to exist, of course, there becomes the necessity of hiding, right? What is what we call tzimtzum. Again, it's not a in-depth class on Eitz Chaim on any of this. This is just the basic of a basic. So Hashem constricts himself. So if I can give you a mashal lema hadavar domeh, imagine you take a light and you throw one sheet on top of it. It's a thin sheet. So the light is still going to pass through the sheet. It's not such a thick sheet. But let's say you throw another sheet, another sheet, another sheet. Eventually you can start to hide most of the radiance of the light. Now the light itself is still radiating the same effect. You didn't change the radiant effect of the light. But what you've changed is the observer's view. From the observer's point of view, you've changed the ability to see that light in a clear, we'll call it revealed manner. Okay, so this is the method that HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses to create the world. Now, again, we said if you go back to the Shiur on Talit, why does Hashem create the world in such a fashion? Is in order to be meitiv, in order to give good. How do you give good?
With putting yourself.
You have to, right. So you have to give an ability that the objects, the creatures, have to be able to exist. When I say exist, I don't mean that they physically exist. I mean that they have some sort of an independent existence. Now, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals himself, you want to do anything. You want to do anything, right? It's like what we say. If you're sitting next to the king, you're nullifying yourself to the king. I saw, I think it was, they said, imagine if you were sitting next to one of the big chachamim, take any of the big chachamim, let's say you're sitting next to Ari HaKadosh, right? And so he wakes up at Chatzot, Laila. You're going to wake up at Chatzot Laila. You're going to wake up early. He's going to fast all day. You're going to do whatever he's doing just because you don't feel comfortable. You don't feel appropriate to do anything else. So is that really you? No, it's not really you. You're playing along. You're playing the part. How do you become that? To become that kind of individual, that takes a long time. That takes earning it and developing it. Okay, that's not something that comes overnight. Now, you can fake yourself and you can play the part, but you haven't earned anything in terms of it hasn't influenced your heart. And again, the entire point of this creation is that there should be something taken to heart. Right? We like talking about the heart. The heart has to be influenced. The heart has to be into it. Right? If you look at what we spoke about last week with the Shkalim, right? With Amalek, we said that what did Amalek sever? And we're talking a lot about Amalek tonight. Amalek severed the heart. They took your ma'aseh, they took your dibur, they took your actions, and they said, okay, you want to do actions, you want to do Torah mitzvot, you want to learn Torah mitzvot, no problem, but separate it from your thought. Separate it from how you feel about it. Separate it from the influence it has on you. So if you're able to do that, chas v'shalom, a person is allowing Amalek into his heart, right? Because again, whenever you sever machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh, you're allowing Amalek to come in. Okay, so Hashem created the world in such a manner, right, that we said that the creatures will have what to do. Now again, if the world was created in a perfect fashion, everything's perfect, what do I need the creatures to do? What would the creatures do? It'll be boring, right? Imagine everything. You woke up and you opened the refrigerator. The food was already in there. You went this way. Everything that you need everything was already put in place. So there was nothing for you to do. So how can you earn anything? So what ends up happening is through a process called shvirat hakelim, is that things break. Hashem created the world with an imperfection in order so that the Am Yisrael, so that the Jews should do Torah and mitzvot, and by doing Torah and mitzvot, they were going to create a perfect world. And so Hashem gives the creature the ability to kiviyachol feel as if they're creating the world, as if they're doing something. Truth of the matter is not doing anything. But He wants them to feel that satisfaction. You can see how much chesed Hashem is. He creates the world with an ability for the person to feel as if he's doing something. And that's what we said, that the biggest tzedakah is not a sandwich that you give to somebody, right? Remember back in the first shiurim, not a sandwich, but it's a job. You give someone the satisfaction of earning something. That satisfaction they have of earning something, that's worth more than any sandwich you give them of one-time thing. Yeah.
we were actually learning with, what's the rabbi's name? We were learning with Rabbi Brendan, the Rav of the Chabad.
Yeah.
We were talking last night about Judaism and freedom, and then we got on the topic for a little bit of what's like true freedom. One of the examples he used was, we spoke about opportunity and how do we know what's really opportunity. And one of the examples he used was, who's better off? The guy who gets out of jail, and yeah, he's free. He's free to live his life. He's now out of jail. It's great. Was the guy who's let out of jail and then has to then get set up with a job.
Right.
You know, it's like that extra push
Right.
is that extra opportunity.
Right. Again, so all of that is put in place. All that is put in place again, so that the creature has something to do.
Has to feel
right,
like,
right.
yeah.
So again, Hashem didn't just create the creature and say, okay, look, everything's already ready for you. So the creature says, then what did you need me for? Then I feel like I'm useless. Hashem says, no, I don't want you to ever feel useless. Feel like you're useful. Start doing something. Why do I mention this to you? Because there is a midrash that brings down that Rabbi Akiva was asked one time by the Goyim. He said, I don't understand something. You Jews do brit milah. You do brit milah, yes? He says, yeah. Okay. Well, so doing brit milah, what do? So you're removing part of the body, right? The human body is created in a certain fashion, and you're coming and you're removing part of the body. So by that, are you saying that God's work is not perfect? Isn't it true that God is perfect himself? So how can the creature that he creates is not come into the world perfectly? So Rabbi Akiva says very wisely, he says, the symbol of Brit Milah is the symbol of the construction of the world. Hashem created the world with an inherent defect. And he made it so that we have to do Torah and mitzvot in order for the world to be perfect. He made an inherent defect. And so when the person is created, he's created actually on a lower level. He's created with what's called an orla, with a covering. And the covering actually is not on such a high level. And it's created on purpose so that he will do a brit milah, which we'll talk about what it means, and then he will attain even a higher level. Okay? So this already is, we understand that there is an idea of how Hashem who created the world is founded in brit milah. The construction of the world is founded in brit milah. Now, Hashem wanted to be mative, we said. Okay? But the language that he speaks, the language that we speak is two different things. He is ruchani, and we are physical, we are gashmi. The two things don't bond together. One's physical, one's spiritual. How do you put that together? So you need some sort of a middle guy, a middle guard, almost like what we spoke about many times, like a Google Translate. Someone said one time, right? Some sort of way to understand. So the idea that the Sfar Kodesh bring down. Imagine you have a big tower of water, and you have people that want to take like a cup of water. Now, if I took all of the tower and I just poured it into your cup, it would just flood out your cup. You wouldn't be able to drink from it. So what do I need to do? I need to construct some sort of a tube or a hose or something so that you get exactly what you need and you do need and I get what I need. So each one gets through this irrigation system. Exactly. Okay. So the irrigation system itself, okay, is a necessary for for the overall goal which is what? To be mative to the creation, to give to the creation. You have to have some way that the creation can also receive it. So they have these tzinorot, is what they're called in the Sfarim Kedoshim, tzinorot. Now the tzinorot themselves, they transfer. Now how does it transfer? How do you transfer kedusha? How do you transfer ruchani? How do you transfer something that's spiritual? Again, the cup is coming into a physical body. How am I going to take something that's spiritual and transfer it into a physical body? So Ason Tzedek brings down an amazing idea. He said, when a Rav is talking to his Talmid, and he wants to convey a deep idea to the Talmid,